Good Monday evening, South Carolina weather watchers. I am your meteorologist, Joseph Peterson, and let's go in and talk about the weather for your Monday evening going into your future. Hopefully, everyone has had a fantastic Monday. What are we going to talk about tonight? Obviously, as you can see by the screen right now, severe weather is indeed making a return. Severe weather is indeed making a return, and that timer should go away in the next 12 seconds. But severe weather will return. Pretty much that's the main thing that we will say there. But I will say that it's probably not going to be like severe weather, like, oh, we're going to have widespread dangerous storms all over the place, all throughout the state. You know, it's just looking kind of marginal right now. Now, other than that, obviously, we have other stuff that we're going to talk about as well. Like, we will talk about the current conditions for tonight. We'll talk about that. We also will talk about, if I can go in and get it, we also will talk about, obviously, just the tropics, because the tropics also is another big area right now that's popping off right now, so we're going to talk about that. Our increasing rain chances as we go throughout the week, and then maybe a flood risk, potentially, that we're watching for as well. And then the cold front that's going to pass through as well as we go into later this week until like the end of the week. And that will also be associated with our severe weather potential for later this week. If you have not hit the like button or the subscribe button yet, make sure you go in and do so. It's free. You can change your mind at any time. And if you do so, like I said, it helps the channel out. Helps the channel out for sure. So if you go on and do so, like I said, it would help me out. And it would also help me get some better content out. Get some better forecasts out as well. So go on and do so with the like button, hit the subscribe button. Now, what's going on right now? Right now, nothing going on throughout the entire state of South Carolina. But if we look at what's going on throughout the entire U.S., you have rainfall that goes on over here into Florida, going into Kentucky and Indiana. Let me see if I can go on and cut this stuff off right here. There we go. We have rainfall going on over here inside of Florida, going on inside of Tennessee, Kentucky, Ohio, as well as West Virginia. We also have some rainfall going on in Pennsylvania and New York, and then rainfall going on in Michigan, the UP of Michigan. We have some severe weather also going on as well for Wisconsin, going into northern Iowa, and even Nebraska, getting on some of that severe weather down into Colorado and Kansas. Now, we also do have some flooding that's going to go as well in the portions of potentially New Mexico, going over into Kansas, Oklahoma, and Arkansas. Now, what about cloud cover? Cloud cover for right now, we do in fact have some cloud cover going on throughout the upstate right now, going throughout the PD area, maybe even the Grand Strand, getting in on some of that cloud cover as well. But again, it's relatively light. We're not really seeing anything too widespread. What about cloud cover for the future? As we push this forward, cloud cover will indeed go on and stay kind of in that upstate region. We can look at tomorrow morning. Yes, you do have some cloud cover going on near the coastal areas, but for the most part, I'm seeing a lot of that but cloud cover going on up there inside of the upstate. And if you push this forward even more into like the afternoon/evening hours, you can see that cloud cover will move a little bit more into the low country and the PD, Grand Strand, etc. But you see another wave of cloud cover moving up into the upstate as you move into later tomorrow evening as well. Current temperatures for tonight, 73 in Columbia as well as 72 in Orangeburg, 72 in Sumter and even Florence, 73 in Georgetown and 74 in Murrells Inlet, 74 in Myrtle Beach and 71 in Conway, 73 in North Myrtle Beach as well as 75 in Charleston, 73 in Somerville as well as 71 in Aiken, 72 in Greenwood as well as 71 in Greenville, 71 Spartanburg and Gaffney as well as 72 in York, 73 Rock Hill and 74 in Clemson. Low temperatures for tonight, around 64 in Greenville, 64 in Anderson, as well as 63 in Spartanburg, 63 in Rock Hill, and 64 in Columbia, and even 63 in Sumter, 62 inside of Kingstree, and even 65 in Orangeburg, 64 in Barnwell, and 65 in Walterboro, 66 in Moncks Corner, and 67 in Georgetown, 71 in Charleston, and 73 in Hilton Head Island. Now for your rainfall for tonight, for the most part, You're not seeing too much rainfall. You do have a little 100th of an inch to maybe even a quarter of an inch of rainfall that's possible apparently as we move through from around 8 p.m. tonight to 8 p.m. tomorrow night. We'll look at the model, see what the timing the models have on that, or if the models even have it at all. We'll take a look at it. Crazy score, which I don't actually. Hold on one second. I do have the crazy score. Okay, the crazy score for tonight is actually going to be an 18. An 18 for tonight. It will be an 18 for tonight. That is obviously because patchy fog is likely. Light to calm winds and increasing moisture favor patchy fog, especially in the coastal plains, eastern Midlands, low country, those areas with visibilities from potentially a quarter of a mile all the way to just 1 mile. So patchy fog is indeed likely. But other than that, it's going to stay dry. It's going to stay stable. And that's the reason why we have the crazy score a bit high. And that's just because of that fog. SPC outlook for tonight, they just released the new one just now as we speak. And the new one pretty much, it has some areas, but for the most part, it's just a bit different. You do have some thunderstorm activity that's possible if the showers do get going, and the showers are going on. It's possible over there near like the coastal low country, maybe even up there inside of the very far upstate. Now, what about tomorrow? Tomorrow, we do in fact have another thunderstorm risk again up there inside of the upstate as well. If the showers get going, it's possible over there. And then day 3, thunderstorm risk also there for Wednesday, September the 24th for thunderstorm activity pretty much for most of the upstate and the coastal low country, maybe even going a bit inland as well. For excessive rainfall, we have no excessive rainfall that is expected until day 4, which day 4 is indeed Thursday. We do have some excessive rainfall that's possible. Minor flooding or isolated flash flooding possible from Chesterfield all the way down to Winnsboro, to Saluda, to McCormick, to Greenwood, to Greenville, to Anderson, to Spartanburg, Gaffney, York. All of these places inside the green has an isolated chance for some flash flooding, meaning there's a 5% chance of flash flooding. Now, if you're inside the yellow, that is a scattered risk, meaning, Walhalla, Seneca, Pickens, Salem, 6 Mile, Long Creek, those areas up there, scattered flash flooding is possible for y'all on Thursday. Now, for Friday, this moves pretty much into most of the state, coastal Charleston County going all the way up through Georgetown onto Myrtle Beach, North Myrtle Beach. Isolated flash flooding is possible there inside of the pretty much most of the state. Honestly, I'd say so. Most of the state has a chance for some isolated flash flooding. But that is again on Friday. So that's it for our excessive rainfall. What about the models, the actual models themselves? Starting off here at 9 o'clock p.m. As you go on and push this forward, you can see you're not really seeing too much rainfall at all, staying relatively dry. You see a lot of rainfall up there in Tennessee, though, going into potentially North Carolina and northern Alabama, though. But for South Carolina, we stay relatively dry. But then at around maybe 11 a.m., we might see some little droplets going on inside the upstate, nothing really much there. And then maybe, again, tomorrow afternoon at around 1, 2 p.m., we could potentially start to see some of that shower activity start to move in from the coastal regions into the coastal low country, maybe Grand Strand. Then going on to 2 p.m., you can see that shower and thunderstorm activity continues a little bit more. It goes all the way to 4, 5, 6, 7 p.m., and then that moves a bit inland as well, even into inland Horry County, potentially at around 6 p.m. And then we'll move inland a little bit more by around 8 p.m. And then you start to see some of that shower and thunderstorm activity start to go on in the upstate as well by around 6 all the way to 10, 11, maybe even 12 o'clock in the morning on that Wednesday. And then as you move even more into that Wednesday, like around 3, 4, 5, 6 a.m., you're starting to see some more shower activity going on in the upstate at that time frame. And then things start to dry out as you get into the rest of that Tuesday. Now, the Tuesday afternoon, evening, that can change. But for now, it's looking like that we're going to have kind of a bit of an active end. A bit of an active end to the Monday. And then going into early Tuesday is going to be a bit active throughout the state. Or a bit of a late Tuesday, early Wednesday, I should say. Now, what about our long term? So we're going to start off here at the 48-hour mark. As you push this forward, you can see all this rainfall that comes in on the 25th. This is the day that the cold front will be passing us and the potential for the severe weather to come through. This is moving into the 26th to the 27th, maybe even to the 28th. And you can just see overall all of this rainfall activity that will go on until you get to around like the 28th. Things start to calm down a little bit more. 29th, things start to calm down for the most part. Then we go to around October the 2nd, the 3rd, the 4th, the 5th. And then once we get to the 5th, we really can't go any further than that, just because it is just way too far out. 300 hours, it was way too far out to really even talk about this. But we can look at activity, and activity for the most part definitely does look quieter. As you go into the 6th and the 7th and the 8th. But the end of September seems to be lightening up, but these next couple of days into the end of this week seems to be staying active, though. Now, what about our severe weather threat that I was talking about? Obviously, in terms of severe weather, they have not released anything yet. In terms of, our outlook for severe weather for day 4, through 8 or anything like that. But if I go on real quick, and I actually can show you this real quick. I'm going to move you over to the live temperatures real quick. If I go on to the actual Colorado State, because Colorado State, they have their own kind of like weather models that they have over there. And then if you go on to, it's CSP, and then it is CIPS, and then it's SPC. I actually have it right here. They actually do have a little bit of a actual outlook for us as you move into like the next 3 days. So let me go on and get that right here. Here it is right here for day 4. This is for obviously this Friday or this Wednesday or Thursday going into Friday. It has a little risk for some isolated severe weather to move on throughout the state. You can see the brown going into, that's around a 5% to a 15%. So it's there. And again, the probability is too low for the actual SPC to actually issue anything for day 4. So we're going to have to wait and see what happens tomorrow, see what they actually issue. And we'll talk more about that tomorrow night. But the risk is there. Even the CIPS, which I don't really like the CIPS too much, just because I think that is a bit inaccurate. But it shows a little risk over here for us as well. And I can even show you why that is. Obviously, for severe weather, you need things to come together. You obviously can't just have some rainfall and then some thunder and then just say, okay, well, severe weather is possible. That's not how that works. You need to have things in order for that severe weather to actually take shape and to actually get going. You need moisture, obviously. And when I say moisture, I mean, we can go on and look at dew points, for example, but we're talking about moisture inside the atmosphere. You start off here and you move all the way into that Thursday. We have the moisture for sure. I mean, you have dew points up in the 70s. It's going to be muggy as you go into that time frame, but you can obviously see the cold front behind it. So it's going to be muggy. It's going to be there. You might also need some upper level winds as well. I mean, I know some say that tornadoes, you really just need the upper level winds, but if you go ahead and push this forward, you can see for sure that, I mean, there is some upper level winds up there inside the atmosphere that's cranking a little bit at the 500 millibar level. And then the final thing that you need for sure, and if I go on and go over here to severe weather, we go to you just go to Cape right here. You can see for sure as you move into Thursday that Cape's starting to build up. If we click over here inside the low country, for example, it doesn't say anything for now, but obviously that's just one area. Obviously we would have to go on and look at all of these areas if we really wanted to see, but obviously we don't have the time for all that. So, but I mean, you can click on some of these areas and see that for the most part that we have Cape inside the atmosphere. That's pretty much the main thing. And so that will also add into the potential for some severe weather. Now, obviously, we're not looking for any sort of tornadoes or like major tornadoes or supercells to, get going or anything like that. This might just only be just like a gusty wind, damaging wind threat if it was to occur. But we're not the only area that could potentially see it. If you go on over here into the actual SPC outlook, you can already see that they're starting to issue severe weather outlooks out there all the way from Texas all the way up into Indiana. That's going to continue its way east, and that is from that cold front that we will get on either that Thursday or that Friday. So that's why I'm saying that severe weather definitely is on the way, and if it's not on the way for us and it's going to die out before it gets to us, it definitely will be here for other people just to our west. But that's all that I wanted to say there in terms of the severe weather threat there. What about obviously the cold front that we have that's coming through? I talked about it. I said it wasn't really going to be too cold. It wasn't going to bring us like any sort of like cool air. It really just was going to dry things up for just a little bit. But due to obviously the system that we could potentially have inside of the Atlantic, it's not really going to last too long. But look behind that. This is October the 1st right here. Look at these dew points down to the 30s for a lot of people. Now, if you go to yesterday was not showing that. That is a huge difference, night and day, between what yesterday showed and what today shows. So a huge, huge difference. And if you even go to the anomalies as well, it looks like a little bit cooler as well. So this model right here is a bit different. We'll continue to watch and see. Will this happen again tomorrow? Will we have some more cool air move in? Will it just be the same as it has been to where it's just been warm air due to that tropical system out there? We'll wait and see what happens there. But it all depends on where this tropical system goes at. You might be wondering what tropical system I'm talking about. There's one on the right side of the screen. You can't really see it, but that will impact what happens with this cold front. Speaking of the tropics, we do have areas that we are watching for inside of the tropics, obviously. We have Gabrielle still out here. Gabrielle is, I don't want to say doing a fantastic job, but doing a swell job, as it has 140 mile per hour winds. With the swells generated by Gabrielle will continue to affect Bermuda and the east coast of the United States from North Carolina north, as well as Atlantic Canada during the next couple of days. These will cause, obviously, rip currents, high surf as well. Now, it also is expected to reach the Azores late on Thursday. Interest in the Azores should monitor the progress, as well as it too soon to specify the magnitude of wind or rain. But obviously for us, nothing for us except for obviously that rip current threat. As you move through the rest of today, or tonight I should say, there's a high risk. But tomorrow that high risk is still there for Georgetown County beaches. So along Georgetown County coastal area, there is actually a high risk for some rip currents. Everybody else though, from Horry County over into Charleston County down all the way towards that South Carolina-Georgia line, it is just a moderate risk of rip currents, so nothing too much there. Now, what about these other regions? You have disturbance 1 over here. Shower and thunderstorm activity associated with the tropical wave located about midway between the Lesser Antilles and the Cabo Verde Islands show some signs of organization. Environmental conditions are forecast to become more favorable for development by tomorrow, and a tropical depression is likely to form on Wednesday or Thursday while the system moves west to northwest across the central Atlantic. And that's the first time I've actually really seen them use an actual day. Usually they say over the next day or two, but they said on Wednesday or on Thursday. It is likely to form on Wednesday or Thursday. It has a 30% chance of forming over the next 48 hours. I'm guessing that will increase as we get closer and closer to Wednesday and Thursday, and then we have an 80% over the next 7 days. That might rise to a 90, potentially even a 100 if they're that confident of it. But for now, it seems like that we're going to have our next tropical depression, if not storm. And the next storm, if you go on and go to the 2025 tropical storm names, or just the for the Atlantic, the next one would be Humberto. I'll get the pronunciation on it. But for now, that would be the next name. And then the one after that, if this one in the orange form, speaking of the orange, it says a tropical wave located about 250 miles east of the Leeward Islands is producing disorganized shower and thunderstorm activity. Environmental environmental conditions appear marginally conducive for sudden development over the next few days as the wave moves quickly west to west northwest at 15 to 20 miles per hour. By the latter part of the week, the system is expected to slow down and turn northwest, and a tropical depression could form late this week when the system is over the southwestern Atlantic Ocean or near the Bahamas. Regardless of development, gusty winds and heavy rainfall are expected to affect portions of the Leeward Islands late tonight and Tuesday across the Puerto Rico late Tuesday and then also on Wednesday. So this right here, some development is possible over the next couple of days though, and a tropical depression could form late during the week. This has a 10% chance of forming over the next 48 hours and a 50% over the next 7 days. So this one as well has a pretty good chance. And the next storm with this one, actually, the next name would be Imelda with the I, so it's or Imelda. Again, I'll get the pronunciations correct. I will get it correct once they come through, once they form. But those are the next two if they are to occur. Now, in terms of the actual models with these, you would see this. If you had no model guidance, you'd be like, yeah, we definitely need to be aware. We definitely need to be concerned about this. But if you go in and look at the actual ensembles themselves, go over here into actually like the ensembles and what they say, you can see the one on the left side, it gets going a little bit, but the one that you really see the most is the one on the right side, obviously the red one, disturbance number 1, and that one curves, and that one gets up out of here relatively quickly. You don't really see too much from that one over here, but the one on the left, if you go in and pay attention to that one, you can see the low pressure starting to form there. That's going to move its way through. And again, you're not really seeing too much near South Carolina at all. Now, that's the Euro, though. That's the Euro. What about the GEFS? The GEFS might be a completely different story. And from now, just looking at it, definitely is. If you look at the one on the right side, doesn't form until much later, but the one on the left definitely forms a lot quicker, but you're not seeing anything towards South Carolina. And so for now, it's looking like that most, if not all, are saying that this will definitely curve. Now, when will it curve? We don't know. But for the most part, most ensembles are saying that this will curve away from the state. That's it for the ensemble zone. That's it for the tropics. So that's all I wanted to say there. So let's go on now, since we're done with the tropics. So talk with the audience. If you want to be a part of the audience, you can by joining us at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. Let's see what the audience has to say for tonight. Starting off, Mr. Chris says, good evening, everyone. Hope you all had a great day. Please remember to go and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you have not already. Also, go on and share with everyone that you know. That's a good thing that you said that, because let's go on real quick and check and see how many people have hit the like button so far. We've had 24 people come in and hit the like and hit the YouTube live streaming that they viewed it, and we only have 8 likes. Oh, it wasn't playing. Hold on. There you go. I don't know what's going on there. If you are a part of that 16 that have not hit the like button yet, go in and do so. It's free. You can change your mind if you ever want to undo the like button. Same thing with the subscribe button. You can change your mind if you ever want to. My Aunt Lula then says, good evening, everyone. I pray that everyone had a blessed day. I did. Good evening to you. Mr. Chris says, I want everyone to know that the wife and I are doing much better after battling COVID. Went outside and enjoyed the nice weather today. That is fantastic to hear. Glad to hear that y'all are feeling better. Mr. Oliver says, good evening. Very nice first day of autumn. I hope the humidity and temperatures continue to drop to an acceptable, comfortable level. I would really like to see some fall foliage, but that's not a... And then that's where the message ends at. So, for the most part, you could potentially start to see some of them temperatures decrease, obviously, as we go into like the end of this week as that cold front moves through, but you really just have to hope that that tropical system out there curves early. If it curves early, that cold front will have more strength and it will try to push forward even more. But if that tropical system gets close enough to the coast to where it holds off that cold front, you're not really going to see too much cold air and too much dry air push in. I mean, you might see some in the upstate, but if the more you get towards the coastal regions, the less you're going to see it. My Nana says, hello, Jay. It was a nice overcasted day. I spent some time outside watching the birds playing in the birdhouse. Great that you got some outside time. Then my cousin Cheryl comes in and says, good evening, everyone. Weatherman, hope all is well. All is well. Good evening to you. And how is everyone else? I hope you had an enjoyable weekend. It was a nice day in Philly, so keep up the good work. Be blessed on purpose. Love y'all. Thank you so much for that. And obviously, I know you probably are at work right now, so thank you for tuning in while you are there. Ethan is here. Hello to you. Trail says, greetings, everyone. Greetings to you. Beautiful day here. Glad that it was a great day. Mr. Anthony says, good evening, everyone. Good evening to you as well. Trail says it is, says happy fall equinox. I obviously celebrate fall on the 1st of September. The 1st of the month is when I start to celebrate the 1st of, obviously, fall going into winter and then also spring. I do those obviously during the first day. But, climatological, I know you go more into the actual month, but I follow, the meteorological fall time frame, but I mean it doesn't really matter whichever one. Trill also says Libra season. That is correct. And then Mr. Kristen says during this time, what is the Cape going to be? And then Ethan asks Trill, what does that mean? What is Libra season? So Trill, if you want to go in and explain that for us, that would be fantastic. And Mr. Chris says during this time, what is the Cape going to be? I'm gonna guess during. I'm going to assume you mean during when the time severe weather comes through or the potential for it comes through on that Thursday. I can actually go in and show you that right now. If you go on over to this right here, moving on over into like that Thursday time frame to when the potential severe weather could potentially strike. You're going to have Cape up into the thousands, which is, enough, which is good amount. That is definitely a good amount for some severe weather to get going. I'm just clicking around. Don't worry about what I'm clicking on. But it's a good amount of Cape. It definitely is a good amount of Cape. The thing is, will the moisture be there? That's a good question. Even if you go in and look at the most unstable Cape as you go into Thursday, it's pretty much the same thing. But for the most part, around the 1,000. So the Cape is going to be pretty high. It will be pretty high for sure. So hopefully that answered your question. But that's all that I have for the audience. I don't see anything else. So let's go on and talk about the 4 locations outside of South Carolina. You might be asking, what in the world am I talking about? I'm talking about San Antonio, Texas, Raleigh, North Carolina, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and Duncan, Oklahoma. The reason why we talk about those 4 locations is because we have people from those areas who tune in almost nightly. So starting off with San Antonio first, forecast usually only takes around like 2-3 minutes or so. But in San Antonio, you have low temperatures tonight at 78, high temperatures tomorrow at 100. So yes, it's going to be hot out there. And then low temperatures at around 78. No precipitation is expected at this time, which I know you'll definitely most likely need the precipitation as y'all are still inside that drought. But in terms of severe weather, you do in fact have a risk for some severe weather. I believe so on Wednesday. Wednesday, isolated severe storms are possible as you move into Wednesday. Now, what about excessive rainfall? You actually do have another chance for some excessive rainfall as well as on Wednesday. So isolated flash flooding is possible on Wednesday, and isolated severe storms are possible on Wednesday. Now, for Raleigh, you have low temperatures tonight at 62, high temperatures tomorrow at 88, and then low temperatures tomorrow night at 68. There is indeed no precipitation that is expected at this time. No precipitation is expected. In terms of severe weather, right now it seems like that there is no severe weather that is expected, but don't be surprised if you might have a chance for it on Thursday. Same thing with South Carolina. And then for excessive rainfall, there is a chance as well on Thursday and Friday for some excessive rainfall for you as well. Then for Philadelphia, you have low temperatures tonight at 63, high temperatures tomorrow at 84, and then low temperatures tomorrow night at 66. No precipitation is expected tonight or tomorrow, and then a chance of showers as you move into tomorrow night. In terms of excessive rainfall, there is indeed a chance for it on Thursday and Friday again. But what about severe weather? No severe weather is expected for you, though. And then the final location being Duncan, Oklahoma. Low temperature tonight at 74. High temperature tomorrow at 93. And then low temperature tomorrow night at 65. No precipitation is expected tonight, but a chance of thunderstorms tomorrow and tomorrow night. And indeed, there is a chance for some severe weather tonight and tomorrow, as isolated, I believe it's just isolated damaging winds is possible tonight. And then tomorrow, isolated damaging wind and hail is possible. Excessive rainfall for you. There's actually no threat for any sort of excessive rainfall. And so what's going on throughout the entire U.S. In terms of weather news? Thunderstorms ahead of an approaching cold front will impact much of the central U.S. through Tuesday. Severe thunderstorms and flash flooding are forecast for portions of the central and southern plains and the Mississippi, Ohio, and the Tennessee valleys. Meanwhile, dangerous waves and rip currents will impact portions of the East Coast as tropical activity increases in the Atlantic. We have dense fog advisories that are out. That goes for central Indiana going into Minnesota, northwestern Wisconsin. And then some frost advisories are out. That is for Idaho, northeastern Washington, northern Idaho, and northwestern Montana. And then we even have some winter weather advisories, meaning that some potential snow going on inside of southern Wyoming and northern Colorado, most likely in the Rockies. Flash flooding or flooding just in general will possibly be ongoing as well throughout tomorrow, as well for portions of Kansas going into Missouri and Arkansas and Oklahoma. So a lot going on there, a lot going on. And so for the most part, it's going to still be active as we maintain through tonight going to the end of the week, especially as that cold front moves through. Let me check and see if I see anything inside the audience anymore. Right now, I don't see Trail's comment as well. I'm pretty sure she's just talking about, when she says it's Libra season, she's just talking about, like Libra's like I'm pretty sure astronomical calendar. That's what she means by Libra season. And then, for now, I don't see anything else, though. I don't see anything else. So, top fans for tonight, Mr. Chris at number 1, Trail's at number 2, and then Ethan is at number 3. Congratulations to the 3 of y'all for being the top fans for tonight. So that is all that I have. If you have not hit the like button or the subscribe button yet, make sure you're going to do so. We are at 586 subscribers, trying to get to 600. 14 away. We are getting so close. 14 away. So let's go on and move to that goal again. Remember, share it with all the people that you know. It could be somebody that you met at the grocery store. It could be somebody that you met at Walmart. It could be somebody that you met while you were out walking at the park. Or you can go on and share it on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, anything like that. I will be back tomorrow morning with your Tuesday morning forecast update. Everyone have a fantastic rest of your Monday, and make sure before you leave, go on and hit those 2 buttons.